Hello, I'm Eden and I have a background.
Hello, I'm Anna and I have a background in marine sustainability.
I'm Oliver and I'm a master's student from Valhalla, studying aquaculture. So, the shipping industry is extremely important to our world today, extremely necessary to globalization, but it's also something that can be extremely damaging to the environment. And one of the biggest ways this happens is through the transfer of non-native organisms and pathogens from one border to the next. This can be, usually it's international. And one of the ways in which this happens is through something called ballast water, which is essentially a large volume of water that ships carry from one port to another. It's pumped in and then it's discharged. And this is used to increase the strength of the hull and maneuverability of the ship and other reasons. But within this ballast water, which is pumped from one area and released to another, so too are the pathogens and microorganisms and other alien species, which can be introduced into different ports and start introduced invasive populations. And this is a really big problem. And as a result, the Ballast Water Management Convention was started, and one of the most recent advances is that in 2024, all ships from nations which are signatory to this convention have to install ballast water, wastewater treatment facilities on ships, or they have to produce new ships with these treatment systems. And these are extremely expensive. They can cost up to $5 million each. So that's extremely expensive if you have hundreds of ships in your fleet. And today, and on top of this, many ports will require certificates to prove that you actually have these systems. But this is a relatively grey area, with some ports and some nations enforcing this and others not. So today, we think we have a solution to solve this issue.
Yeah, as laws can take a long time to make a visible impact and companies might not see the advantage of it, we want to create a service to make the laws implementable and to increase the incentives. So basically turning a stone into an attractive carrot for the companies. So therefore we have the Valhalla OceanGate. This is our model. This is the gates. As we have the international countries and we have Nordic countries. So the international ships are going into our gates. We have provided two services. We're cleaning the ballast water, and at the same time, we're recharging the vessels with our offshore wind energy, as we're supposed to think that in the future our ships are electrified. And in this case, we're also solving the problem of storage, as renewable energy is uncertain, and we can cut down the supply chain to direct recharge. And at the end, they get a certificate, so we enhance to use the certificate from the program to enforce law and make law implementable and to prevent pollution.
So as a location for our gates, we chose the North Sea, specifically an area between Denmark and Norway, as you can see by the little pin there. And we really like this area because it's a very important maritime route for ships passing from southern and central Europe, past the UK and up to Denmark. And they will eventually go to the Baltic Sea, to Swedish, Danish and Finnish ports. So that's why it's an important route, and it means there's a lot of customers for us. And then secondly, we think that in the future, a few decades from now, Arctic trade routes, maritime routes, can become far more important in global trade. And ships coming from Asia will have to stop somewhere around here, we hope in Denmark, before they go to the rest of Europe. And this is important because these ships are potentially carrying new alien species which can invade parts of Europe, or new pathogens.
Okay, so there is a demand for ships because they are obligated to obtain a certificate to enter. This creates an incentive for the shipping companies themselves to fund in this idea, but there also has to be a regulatory body to prevent conflict. Okay, this multi-use concept involving conservation, shipping, and wind power is a sustainable way to achieve positive environmental outcomes. Okay, thank you.
Well done. Congratulations, you did it. Awesome. So now we have 5 minutes for the jury, so the floor is yours. The first one was a question. Okay. Would you like?
Yeah, could you please say something how you consider the circular economy aspect?
Well, it is. Oh, yeah. It is not 100% research. It's a little bit linear, but we want as multi-use as a concept. It's very new, and you have several industries can build a multi-use concept with. But we wanted to make the problem of enforcing law, as we have a lot of. We wanted to make something positive to really help restore some of the marine environment. So we thought, why not use law and make a tool or service to make it implementable? So therefore, it's not like 100% economic reusing circular system, but we want to make use of law. Therefore, we use an offshore wind, so basically 2 industries, but the outcome is a positive environmental value. So in this way, it's kind of circular, but it's not economically circular. We have to use every product. We do want to use or reuse. Construct maybe all the offshore oil platforms for the construction or containers. So we do want to make it as circular as possible, but how 100% we have to figure it out by the way. So that's how this implements. Yeah.
This seems like a really capital intensive initiative. Have you guys given some thought about how would you get started doing this?
Well, I think
Investment wise or?
Just, because, you're talking about a major shipping route
yeah.
and you need to set up a pretty, big infrastructure where ships have to go through. Typically, these kind of initiatives are taken by government-like organizations. So I'm wondering, you came together, you're a startup. So how are you going to convince somebody to give you millions of dollars in the beginning?
Yes.
Right? So
yes. Well, it is a combination of businesses and governments. As there's, for example, the initiative, the Sustainable Shipping Initiative, who is looking exactly for transdisciplinary businesses like this, but especially if you look legally wise, like space, maritime spatial planning, this is something we definitely are aware that there will be something difficult to erase, but therefore it is a collaboration among the countries and at the same time getting the investment, but it is a positive outcome for all. But of course the collaboration is very important to make this feasible. But as also saw on the map, it is in the exclusive economic zone of several countries, so they do have to agree in order to get the space. But in this way, we can enforce the law and we get positive outcome for the companies as well.
So my follow-up question was, so how is this done now? For example, is this particular compliance tested now?
Well, that's exactly the issue, that there isn't really an enforcement. But what we hope is that in the Nordic space, we could convince governments to actually enforce them to make a difference. It's difficult. And
The biggest challenge is going to be getting the shipping companies to agree.
Yeah,
Because it's cost for them and,
I think it's actually beneficial because if the shipping company has to retrofit an existing ship and spend $5 million on it just to make it compliant with the convention, instead they could just come to our OceanGate and not with an existing ship, get their ballast water serviced and not have to have that additional investment or make new ships with new systems in place. So actually we negate that whole scenario.
Okay, 1 more minute for questions.
What happens with the pathogens and the waste that you've extracted from the ballast water?
Yeah, okay, so I mean today there's already various methods which clean ballast water. But I think you're asking about the methods or what happens to the water itself.
Both.
So there's methods like you can have physical filtration, chemical disinfection, UV filtration, nanofiltration. Like there's a whole range of different technologies usually that are used.
And where does that go? 'Cause
So-
it produces waste.
Yeah.
Where does that go?
So it produces a byproduct which, if it has below a certain level of contaminants, it legally can be pumped back into the ocean. But what we would like is to store this water, this clean water, and use it as ballast water for new ships coming through. So one ship would come through, pump their old water, their existing water into us, we clean it, store it, and then pump it back into the next ship that comes through. And this has been done on land-based systems. There's one in Alaska which processes 33 million gallons a day. But we'd like to do, we'd like to do this in the Nordic context.
Awesome, thank you. Is there any burning question before we pass to the next?
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
wondering about the wind, and not to talk about this, what would be the purpose of it? That we could charge the ships? Yeah.
It would charge the ships, and as we know, well, the system also needs energy. So the system needs energy, the system needs energy, and we want to also cut down, well, because offshore wind and renewables have storage problems, and in this way we want to directly use them, and so help the supply chain to directly use it. So therefore, the offshore winds.
Thank you so much, and it was like this.